Would you like to get business credit without a personal guarantee and without a personal credit check, but you have concerns that it may or may not work for you? Well, in this training, I'm about to reveal to you exactly how business credit works and how you can make it work for your business as well. I'm going to show you the exact steps to successfully build business credit for your EIN without a personal guarantee and without a personal credit check. I'm going to show you how you can make business credit work for you, even if you've been denied financing before, even if you tried to build business credit before and haven't succeeded. I'm going to sprinkle in some of my best kept secrets along the way to cut years off the business credit building process. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to get you access to our business credit building guide that's been downloaded over 1 million times that maps out the exact steps for you to successfully make business credit work for you. We've got a lot to cover, so let's dive in. So if you think that business credit might not work for your business, you're not alone. Over 90% of entrepreneurs per Entrepreneur Magazine don't even know anything about business credit building. And of the 10% that do, most end up failing when trying to build business credit because they're not following the proper sequence of steps. Look, a lot of people think that business credit is only for big companies, but that's because big companies ultimately obtain business credit just because as they grow, they're obtaining funding. But as a startup, as a newer business, as a small business, it's tougher to qualify for business credit if you don't understand the specific sequence of steps you must take to succeed. And the reason for this is that business credit's very elusive. With consumer credit, it's very easy to build a consumer credit card because every time you go to Target to check out, they're offering you a credit card with a 20% discount on your purchase, and that credit card reports to the consumer credit reporting agencies. See, that's what we're used to. We're used to getting credit that reports to the credit bureaus without us even thinking about it. But that's not the way things work in the business credit world. And the business credit world, it's exactly the opposite. 97% of trade credit that's issued by trade vendors, stores, for example, don't report that credit to the business credit reporting agencies. So this means you're not going to just accidentally build your business credit profile. And this is exactly why so many people think that business credit doesn't work, because they struggle to actually obtain it. Here's the great news. The great news is if you know exactly the steps to take when building business credit, you can succeed. I don't care if you're a startup. I don't care if you just started your business today. If you're a nonprofit, if you're not able to qualify for other kind of financing, if you don't have good personal credit, or you don't have collateral, or you don't even have cash flow yet, you can still successfully build business credit the exact same way the big companies do, by following the exact series of steps that they took and that you can take to succeed. So let's dive in and talk about the exact steps to make business credit work for you and successfully build it from scratch. So the really first step to take when building business credit is to understand what business credit is and how it works. So you're obviously familiar with consumer credit. You have credit reports with TransUnion, Equifax, Experian. You build credit. You use that credit to get credit cards, loans, mortgages even. Well, business credit's exactly the same way. You start with no credit profile. You get some accounts that report initially to the business credit reporting agencies, which are a little different than consumer. Equifax and Experian are still big players in the business space, but we also have Dun & Bradstreet, who's not in the consumer credit world. So we're getting credit that reports to Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian that establishes an initial credit profile and score for our business. Now, once we have this initial credit profile and score established, we can start letting credit issuers look at that established credit profile and score, which, by the way, reflects our business's ability to pay its debts, not our personal ability to pay our personal debts. Big difference. Business credit really reflects your business's ability to pay its own bills, to pay its own debts, to pay its own credit card, its own loan payments. So once you build an initial business credit profile and score, then your consumer credit profile and score isn't needed, because your business credit profile and score can stand on its own. You've already proven that your business can pay its debts. But in order to do this, you've got to get credit with vendors that actually will give you credit and that report to the business credit reporting agencies. That's the tough part. Since 97% of trade vendors don't report the credit, we've got to get credit with credit issuers who will give you credit, who can actually report it, that will give you the initial credit profile and score. Then we use that as kind of a springboard to start actually qualifying for all kinds of other credit. So now that you get a basic idea of why it's been tough in the past for so many to build business credit and exactly how to get started, let's talk about the very first step of building actual credit, which is fundability. Have you ever applied for a credit card before and been denied, or received that dreaded message that you'll hear by mail in 7 to 10 days? Or you applied for that same credit card and got approved? Well, that's really the two outcomes. Is you're typically going to get approved for a credit card when you initially apply because you meet the credit issuer's requirements, or you get that dreaded message that you'll hear by mail in 7 to 10 days, which usually means that your application's been pushed to a person for a manual underwriting review. So our goal is to get you automated approvals for business credit, to skip that manual review. Because once you get to a manual review, it's treacherous. It's really tough to get approved. So in order to get approved initially, automatically, you have to understand what the credit issuer's computers are really looking for to determine if you should be approved. And here's the crazy part. It's not what you think it is. A lot of business owners think that their credit's the issue or that their income's the issue, but that's not it at all. The majority of applications for credit are denied, not because you don't qualify, but because you don't meet basic fundability requirements that credit issuers and lenders have. So in order to be successful, you've got to come in and meet that criteria so you can get those automated approvals. We call this fundability, and there's over 125 factors that lenders and credit issuers look at to determine if you're fundable or you're not. But if we just take a common sense approach to this, what credit issuers are really looking for is that you have a legitimate, credible business. That's all you have to do. You have to set your business up where it's legitimate and credible per your lenders and credit issuer standards. But it's not just for them, it's for your customers as well. When you set your business up the right way, you just look more legitimate, not only just to lenders and credit issuers, but to your customers as well. So what do I mean by setting it up the right way? Well, let's start from scratch. You want to set up a business name and an entity, preferably a corporation. There's a lot of entities you could choose, but lenders, credit issuers, even the general public looks at corporations as the most credible type of actual entity you can get. You want to make sure you get an EIN for your business. You want to make sure you know what your NAICS code is. If you don't know what an NAICS code is, it's basically a way that the government uses to identify your actual industry. Now, it's used for a lot of purposes. The SEC uses it. The IRS uses it to compare your expenses to others in your industry. But lenders, credit issuers, and the credit bureaus use this too to determine the risk of your business in relation to your actual industry, or if you're in a high-risk industry altogether. So you need to go to NAICS.com and figure out exactly what your NAICS code is. And you want to use that. When you apply for credit financing, open a bank account, you want to put the exact name of your actual industry and the NAICS code as well. So you should know that information. You want to make sure you have a business address. Never use a personal address or a home address, PO box, UPS address as your business address. Don't get me wrong. Some credit issuers will approve you for a home address, or if you use a home address, but others like Walmart won't approve you. So try to get a business address, a real retail location, or a virtual address that will help you look more legitimate and credible. You want to get a business phone number. Don't use a home phone. Don't use a mobile phone. You can use a voice over IP, but get a toll-free number and make sure the phone number is listed with 411. The 411 requirement is one of the basic requirements that a lot of credit issuers have, and it gives you a lot of credibility just because you have that phone number listed with 411. Have a business website that reflects what you do, that has your products and services, even possibly shows the prices of your products and services, so anybody looking at your website can clearly know what you do and what you actually sell. Get a professional email address, not a Gmail or AOL. Make sure that your email address matches your domain. So my email address is info@creditsuite.com. My domain is creditsuite.com. Those two match. So that will make you look more credible. Have a bank account set up. A lot of credit issuers are going to ask you for a bank reference. And you also need to make sure that you get your DUNS number with Dun & Bradstreet. You can go to creditsuite.com/DUNS, D-U-N-S, to get that DUNS number at no cost. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes to apply, but it goes a long way towards giving you credibility. Speaking of credibility, one other thing to keep in mind is if you can get a business license in your county, in your state, in your city, or in your industry, do so. Some credit issuers that I'll tell you about one later will even give you a $2,500, $3,000 credit line just because you have a business license. So if you can get a business license, that goes a long way towards credibility as well. Now, we don't want to cover all the fundability aspects of this video. It'd be a long video if we cover 125, but those are the main things, and you just want to keep in mind to make sure that your business reflects that you're credible. That's one of the biggest and most important things when it comes to establishing your fundability, which is the first crucial step of building your business credit. Now that you set up your business where you're fundable, now it's time to start getting real usable credit. If you want business credit to really work for you, you've got to do this in a very particular order. So the very first thing you do is you got to get what are called starter vendors. Now, starter vendors are places like Uline or Quill or Granger that will give you credit when you have none and report that credit to Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and or Experian. So you've got to get credit with credit issuers that meet those two requirements. They'll give you credit when you have none. They report to a business credit reporting agency. So if you go, for example, example, to Uline's website, you set up an account online, you put items in your shopping cart, you go to checkout, they're going to give you an option like Invoice Me. If you choose that option, then they won't require a credit card. They will ship your items, and once your items are shipped, and as soon as you can, you want to pay your bill, and they report the paying of that bill to the business credit reporting agencies. Now, you got to be careful here. If you want business credit to work for you, you've got to know that your credit scores are based on how early or late you pay. The one thing you need to control is to pay that payment as soon as you can after the item is actually shipped. So once the item's shipped, as soon as the credit issuer lets you pay the bill, that's going to get you a good score. Now, when you've done this, you have 3 accounts reporting to Dun & Bradstreet or 1 account reporting to Equifax and Experian. The credit bureaus will then create or populate a credit report and score for you. Now, you're going to need about 5 of these kind of starter vendors to move on to the next step of building business credit. And remember, a lot of the reason that people think that business credit doesn't work is that they're following the steps out of order. So you've got to make sure you do the fundability step first, then you move to the vendor step second. You can't skip ahead, or if you skip ahead, you will fail. You will think it doesn't work. So remember, in this vendor step, we got to get credit with initial vendors. Business T-Shirt Club is one, Granger is one, Supply Works is another one, and you got to have about 5 of these accounts on your business credit reports. With 5 accounts on your business credit reports, then you can move to the next step, which is to start actually qualifying for real usable retail credit. So let's talk about how to get approved for real revolving retail credit. So with a handful of accounts on your business credit reports, the next thing you want to do is monitor your business credit. You got to make sure that those accounts actually report. Now, the credit bureaus will charge you about $250 a month to get your credit reports with Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, Experian. If you want to save 90% and only pay $24 a month, then go to creditsuite.com/monitoring. At creditsuite.com/monitoring, you can get credit monitoring for Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian. See those handful of accounts show up on your credit reports. Now, remember, D&B won't even populate a credit report for you until you have 3 accounts reporting, so you've got to make sure that you have at least 5 accounts across all 3 bureaus, at least 1 with Equifax, 1 with Experian, and at least 3 with D&B to even see the creation of those credit profiles and scores. Now that you've seen that, now it's time to start getting real usable retail credit. Almost all major retailers offer this, from Staples and Office Depot to Lowe's and Home Depot, Sam's Club, Costco, even Nordstrom, Macy's, Amazon, Walmart. They all offer business credit without a personal guarantee and without a personal credit check. And again, once you get a handful of accounts on your business credit reports, you can start to apply. Now, you got to be careful. If you want business credit to work for you the right way, you cannot authorize a personal credit check or a personal guarantee at this point. As of 2018, the government requires that credit issued by banks that they verify your identity. So they're going to ask for your social to verify your identity, but you've got to make sure that you are telling them that you do not authorize a personal guarantee or a credit check. When you do this, they will pull your business credit reports, they will see that it's established, and they will start to approve you based on business credit quality, and that's how you make it work. That's how you get real usable credit without the personal guarantee and credit check. So with about 5 accounts in your business credit reports, you can start to get credit with almost all major retailers. Then with 8 accounts in your business credit reports, you can start to move to fleet credit. This is BP, Chevron, Sunoco, Wex fleet card. These are fleet cards where you can fuel and maintain fleets of vehicles. So if you have a vehicle you're using for your business or a fleet of vehicles, fleet credit can really be a benefit to you. Then the next thing, and the final step, is when you have about 14 accounts on your business credit reports, then you can start to get Visa cards, MasterCards, auto financing. So for example, Ally, Ford, Toyota, GM, they all offer business credit without a personal guarantee and credit check as long as you have about 14 accounts or more on your actual business credit reports. So once you have 14 accounts on your business credit reports, then you can start to get to the final tier. You can get computer leasing with HP, with Apple, with Dell. You can get auto financing, you can get Visa card, MasterCard, and then you have a well-established business credit report score. You can get all of this type of credit and financing without a personal guarantee and credit check. And with this established business credit now, it's way easier for lenders to start issuing you loans and credit lines as well. It doesn't mean just because you build business credit that alone will qualify you for loans and credit lines, but it goes a long way to helping you get approved, helping you get the most money, and helping you get approved at the best terms. And there you have it. Those are the exact steps to successfully build business credit and actually make it work. Now remember, a lot of people don't think business credit works because they follow these steps out of order. A lot of people will come in and try to go to their bank and get a Visa card, MasterCard without a personal guaranteed credit check before they even establish an initial credit report and score, and you can't do that. I've helped nearly 50,000 people through this process. That's right. We've helped nearly 50,000 people through this process. And what we found is this exact sequence of steps is the key to succeed. So you want more information? Go to creditsuite.com/EIN. That's creditsuite.com/EIN. Grab our guide that's been downloaded over 1 million times that maps out more in depth the steps of building business credit, more information on fundability, more information on vendors. That will give you the step-by-step process to actually be successful. And make sure you like and subscribe so that way you can get more training from us on how to succeed with business credit. Here, by the way, I also want to make sure that you get access to free business credit reports. If you give us a call at 877-600-2487, that's 877-600-2487, or you go to creditsuite.com/consult, you can schedule a free consultation with us. We will do a fundability assessment on this call to see what's wrong with fundability and give you advice on what to fix. We will help you through the step-by-step process of building your business credit. We'll help you give you tips and tactics. We'll get your business credit reports with Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian for free at no cost, saving you $250. And we'll do a funding qualification as well. We'll tell you all the funding you can qualify for. All of that happens on that free consultation, 877-600-2487. If you got value from this training, like and subscribe, and look out for our other training where we talk about more cool ways to get money to start and grow